President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration recognized the place of education as a main driver of national growth, hence the commitment in funding and policy reprioritization towards content development and capacity building of the staff of our public tertiary institutions. Over the years, the glaring paucity of books and instructional materials of international standards have been getting in the way of smooth delivery of quality education in Nigeria's tertiary education space. The deficiency is not only witnessed in the abysmally finite quantity of books available, but also in the quality of what scholars had been publishing locally. The situation became so bothersome that stakeholders in the education sector felt the situation needed to be urgently addressed if Nigerian students are to stay relevant and compete effectively with their counterparts in a rapidly increasing globalized world. As a way of arresting this disturbing drift, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund (TETFUND), Nigeria's widely acclaimed interventionist-in-chief of tertiary education, decided to step in and establish the TETFUND Higher Education Book Development Project. In order to ensure the initiative is effectively implemented, the agency's Board of Trustees in 2009 set up Technical Advisory Group TAG with membership drawn among renowned academics spread within the nation's 6 geopolitical zones, including representations from academic unions namely ASU, ASUP, and COASU, as well as regulatory bodies of NUC, NBTE, and NCC. TAG's efforts since inauguration have not only resulted in the transformation of book development, journal publication and journal publication procedures, but have also, in the main, succeeded in framing clear mechanisms and requisite guidelines for distributing the TETFUND's higher education book development intervention funds. So far, no fewer than 130 TETFUND-sponsored books have been published since TAG came into being, with the latest 50 recently launched with pomp by Education Minister Dr. Morufo Olatunji Alausa at TETFUND's auditorium in Abuja. 60 more books are also in the pipeline, and those are built to be unveiled before the end of this year. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the books, Dr. Alausa acknowledged the fact that Nigeria's tertiary education institutions have for long relied on books published by foreign authors, even if some of those books do not really conform to the needs of the Nigerian society and were certified donors of scarce foreign exchange. He also noted that some of the locally produced books before the establishment of TAG were short of quality, and therefore applauded the initiative of establishing the higher book development by TETFUND with TAG at the driving seat, ensuring safe delivery of top-grade books for the use of Nigerian students at the tertiary level.
TETFUND Book Development Fund intervenes in 3 key areas of publication of books: conversion of high-quality thesis into book, support for academic association journals, and establishment and sustainability of academic publishing centers. Teaching and research depend on relevant instructional materials, such as published books and journals, monographs and other specialized reading materials, as well as e-publishing of books and journals.
Whilst unveiling the books, the minister, who seized the moment to express his appreciation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR for supporting the Education Ministry with uncommon fervor, in his word, hoped that the book's presentation will attain the desired objective of bridging the gap of indigenous authorship and book publications in Nigeria.
We know this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a fervent believer in developing the human capital of our country. And when you talk about human capital, what do you talk about? Education, health, and social protection. And this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been a president In the last 30 years, if you compare what this president has spent, has budgeted, has invested in education, health and social protection, it's second to none.
In his remarks, the Chairman Board of Trustees of TETFUND, Alhaji Aminu Bello Masori, represented by a board member, Right Honorable Sunday Adekpaju, stated that education is very strategic and germane to the overall development of any nation and should always be accorded top priority over other sectors in the economy.
One of the primary objectives of higher education book development project, among others, was to reduce over-reliance on foreign reading and learning materials for public tertiary institutions. I wish to reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, that the educational system of a country is very strategic and germane for overall development of any nation. Hence, should be given top priority over other sectors. In view of this, I want to assure you that TETFUND will continue to deliver responsive intervention programs and will be at the forefront in promoting creative and innovative approaches to educational learning and championing new literacy enhancing areas.
Earlier, the Executive Secretary of TETFUND, Architect Soni S.T.H. Shono, who gave a robust background to the formation of TAG, commended the efforts of the team so far, even as he stated that another round of 60 books are scheduled for unveiling before the end of 2025.
At this juncture, I must acknowledge your unwavering support from the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Maru Olatunji Alausa, for all the efforts at TETFUND and for repositioning the fund to achieve maximal impact in our interest. Greater appreciation also goes to our boss, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has shown a deep commitment to the advancement of education, recognizing its fundamental role in driving national growth. This commitment is reflected in the prioritization of funding and policy reforms aimed at enhancing content development and building the capacity of our public tertiary educational institutions. We want to express again our appreciation to Mr. President for his gracious approval of the 2025 disbursement guidelines, which witnessed a very significant increase in allocations to our beneficiary institutions.
For his part, Chairman of the Technical Advisory Group for TETFUND on Academic Book Publication and Professional Journal Funding, Professor Albert Abegunde, said the books were aimed at promoting literacy, preserving culture, expanding technology, encouraging entrepreneurship, fostering research and innovation to build generations.
Specifically, the 50 TETFUND-sponsored books that have been presented today can be categorized under 9 areas. We have 5 in the line of medicine and pharmacy. We have 11 in the line of art, culture, and literature. 2 are on law, 6 on technology and engineering, 2 specifically focus on mathematics, and we have 7 on agriculture and environment, 5 on economics and management, 1 on entrepreneurship and vocational studies, 3 on statistics and research methods, 7 on education and general literacy, and 1 on security.
In addition, he disclosed that about 30 manuscripts will be added to this number in the next TAG meeting, while a similar number of manuscripts were undergoing rigorous peer review. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund (TETFUND) has decided to confront the perennial problem of inadequate electricity plaguing the nation's public tertiary institutions head-on by unveiling a special intervention initiative as a way of bringing the much-needed succor onto the nation's campuses. TETFUND's board chairman Honorable Aminu Masori announced the cheering news recently whilst inaugurating the steering committee on alternative energy solutions for tertiary institutions. The chairman stated that the initiative is in tandem with the federal government's resolve of having a stable power supply in the nation's public higher institutions. He noted that electricity is very crucial to learning and research, two critical areas that are being undermined by erratic power supply.
The increasing demand of reliable and cost-effective energy solutions has become imperative for institutions to sustain effective operations. With the recent tariff increments in energy charges and with persistent inefficiencies in energy supply, many institutions, particularly tertiary institutions, are struggling to cope with payment of demand. This has led to the disruptions in academic activities and increased anxiety among students. The prevailing challenges necessitate the urgent adoption of sustainable alternative energy solutions to address these concerns.
The newly formed committee, chaired by Right Honorable Sunday Adepoju, a member of TETFUND's Board of Trustees, was given an initial 2-month deadline to submit a preliminary report. The committee will also play a pivotal role in implementing the proposed energy solutions. This initiative complements the federal government's ongoing efforts to provide electricity to tertiary institutions with the engagement of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. Under this program, 15 federal tertiary institutions and 2 teaching hospitals will benefit from captive solar hybrid power plants aimed at providing electricity access in underserved areas. TETFUND's Ad Hoc Committee on Medical Simulation and Innovation Intervention has submitted its report with a strong recommendation for the government to incorporate medical simulation in the nation's education curriculum. The committee also urged the federal government to establish multiple medical simulation centers across the country, with at least one simulation center in each geopolitical zone as a way of shaping the future of medical education in Nigeria. Following the comprehensive report presented by the committee, the estimated cost of setting up each simulation center was estimated between 4 to 6 billion naira, subject to inflationary dictates. The chairman of the committee, Professor Wale Suleiman, a globally acclaimed neurosurgeon, in presenting the report, said investment in medical simulation will significantly improve the nation's readiness to tackle disease burdens, especially non-communicable diseases, maternal child health, accident and emergencies, traumas, infectious diseases outbreaks, and surgical care. The report, which was received by the chairman of the Board of Trustees of TETFUND, Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, also called for urgent modernization of medical practices in Nigeria, including substantial investment in artificial intelligence (AI) technologies to transform patient diagnostics and treatment.
The recommendations are divided into A to F, and they just subheaded to be able to emphasize the key points. So recommendation A, which speaks to the establishment of simulation centers across Nigeria. There's an urgent need to establish multiple medical simulation centers across the country. There may be a need to establish more than one simulation center in each geopolitical zone. Obviously not at the same time, but we see there may be a need to do more than one. The new specialized Federal University of Health Sciences are best positioned to receive the first batch of medical simulation centers, especially those that have admitted students for training.
Responding, the chairman TETFUND Board of Trustees, Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, commended members of the committee for their diligence while also assuring them of the fund's preparedness to study the report assiduously and will come up with strategies for implementing their recommendations.
On behalf of members of the board, I say a big thank you for a job well done, and I'm sure that we will not let you down. And you are part of us. You are chairman of the governing council, so You are always in it, and I hope you have taken note of what he said, that the issue of monitoring of implementation, and I think you mentioned something like that, is very important to know that what is planned is what is being done, and is being done according to what is planned. Once again, thank you.
Executive Secretary of TETFUND, Architect Soni Estiachono, applauded the committee for their commitment and dedication for the timely submission of the report, which will definitely guide the government on the next line of action. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund (TETFUND) has said Nigeria's tertiary institutions are on course to receiving 48 state-of-the-art innovation hubs and entrepreneurship centers spread across the country. The agency said the establishment of the centers commenced in 2023 with 12 hubs already set up. 18 are in the final stages of procurement, whilst another 18 is planned for 2025. The event, which was organized in partnership with Innovate Hub, featured a 2-week training program for 51 scholars from 11 polytechnics nationwide and is designed to significantly enhance Nigeria's research and innovation landscape. Executive Secretary of TETFUND, Architect Soni Estiachono, who announced the sharing news in Abuja at the closing ceremony of the just concluded 30th cohort of the Research for Impact R4I initiative, said the hubs will spur and equip participants with requisite skills to mentor others with the overall aim of benefiting their institutions and the communities.
TETFUND is funding the establishment of innovation hubs and entrepreneurship centers in our beneficiary institutions in phases. We started this program in 2023 with 12 beneficiary institutions, and for these, all the equipment are in place. We are just in the process of now installing and ensuring that they become operational. Last year, we commenced the process for an additional 18 institutions, and we are at the final stages of the procurement for this. And hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be at the Federal Executive Council to also kickstart the implementation of that. And in continuation of the phase development program, another 18 institutions will be coming on stream in 2025. That will bring a total of 48 so far that will be providing these facilities and replicating something similar to what we have.
In his goodwill message, the Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education (NBTE), Professor Idris Bugaje, urged Nigerian polytechnics to take the lead in practical innovation, leveraging scientific principles to develop products and technologies that can boost Nigeria's technological standing.
I would also like to talk to the Nigerian polytechnics to lead innovations in Nigeria. Nobody else can do that. All these great minds were scientists from the universities. But science alone cannot bring innovation. It is left for polytechnics to pick on those scientific laws, to apply them to practical life situations, and bring products and gadgets as are being exhibited here today.
In his remarks, the Managing Director of Innovate Hub, Gregory Ibe Jr., urged participants to serve as catalysts for innovation in their respective institutions. He encouraged them to leverage the skills and knowledge acquired during the training program to drive meaningful change and promote the culture of innovation among their students.
With the great support of our partners TETFUND, we have been able to co-create programs that target the minds and reawaken the spirit of innovation and problem solving for self-sustenance. This is why we are most committed to supporting innovators and researchers in Nigeria by providing access to cutting-edge technology, expert mentorship, and enabling environments where ideas can flourish.
The representatives of the participants, Engineer Nandang Kagwak Ishaku, expressed Cohort 30's gratitude to TETFUND and Innovate Hub for the great opportunity afforded them via the R4I initiative, which literally has turned them as academics to change makers innovators and pioneers of a new Nigeria and promise to take up the knowledge gained to their individual academic environments for onward mentoring of others.
Through this program, powered by TETFUND, in collaboration with Innovate Hub, we have been equipped with the tools and strategies to translate research into tangible, impactful innovations. We have often heard the phrase, publish or you perish, a reality in academic circles. But here at R4I, we have discovered a new mantra, innovate or remain irrelevant. We have learned that research should not just be a requirement for career advancement, but a vehicle for nation building and economic transformation.
The Research for Impact initiative is a collaborative endeavor by TETFUND and Innovate Hub launched in 2022, which seeks to usher in a new era of innovation, technology, research and development in Nigeria. The visionary initiative is tailored towards spurring economic growth and contributing copiously to national development. Lately, an avalanche of awards have been bestowed on TETFUND and its board in recognition of their various efforts in honing, reshaping, and bestriding the public tertiary education landscape like a colossus. An institutional award was granted TETFUND as the most improved government agency of the year 2024 by a New Telegraph newspaper. At the occasion, the newspaper noted that the award reflects TETFUND's unwavering commitment to enhancing Nigeria's tertiary education through strategic interventions, substantial funding, and a focus on research and development. The paper also stated that between 2011 and 2024, TETFUND reinforcing its role as a pillar of educational development in Nigeria. Accepting the award on behalf of TETFUND, Executive Secretary Architect Soni S.T.A. Chiono reaffirmed the agency's commitment to elevating Nigeria's education landscape through strategic funding and innovation-driven reforms. The Chairman Board of Trustees of the fund, Right Honorable Alhaji Bello Mashari, was also honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award for his contributions to the development of education, democracy, and national development by Tuesday newspapers during a ceremony to commemorate the paper's 30th anniversary. Responding whilst accepting the award, Alhaji Mashari, a two-term Katsina State Governor and former Speaker of the House of Representatives, expressed appreciation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his unwavering support to TETFUND and also seized the occasion to celebrate the management and staff for living up to their responsibilities and making the agency proud. Similarly, the Executive Secretary of TETFUND, Architect Soni S.T.A. Chiono, was granted Education Icon Award by Vanguard newspaper, automatically giving fillip to his new moniker as the Encyclopedia of Education, as granted by none other than the Education Minister, Dr. Marufu Olatunji Alausa. The newspaper noted that since Architect Soni S.T.A. Chiono mounted the saddle as the Executive Secretary in March 2022, the fund has recorded significant milestones in the areas of physical infrastructure, research and development, academic staff training and development, and library development. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund TETFUND is at one with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's avowed charge of revamping Nigeria's education sector and will keep championing a skill-driven education model, emphasizing hands-on training, research, innovation, and digital literacy over rote learning. With the active encouragement of the President and the Education Minister Dr. Marufu Olatunji Alausa in place as an avid driver of the Commander-in-Chief's reforms, Nigeria is definitely on the right track towards meeting global education standards. The future, therefore, is certainly bright, and Nigerians can start believing again.